When Breguet is mentioned, most of us think of classically styled cases with coin-edge case bands, guilloche dials, high complications, and class-leading movement finishing. As cliché as that sounds, you would expect nothing less from the brand founded by Abraham Louis Breguet, who is considered as the godfather of mechanical timekeeping, laying the foundation for many great names today, including George Daniels, F.P. Journe, and Philippe Dufour. What you would least expect from such a storied brand is something as pedestrian and utilitarian as a pilot's watch. And yet, here we are. At first glance, the Type 20 looks like an anomaly, yet it is perhaps one of the most important collections within Breguet's lineup and history, and one that deserves far more attention than it receives in my opinion. Let's talk about it. If you're looking for a next watch, check out Swiss Connection Watches for new or pre-owned watches with new arrivals every week. Thanks. Breguet didn't develop this aviation timepiece on their own. Its origins lie in the Type 20, a military chronograph commissioned in the aftermath of World War II by the French Ministry of Defense that demanded a reliable and accurate watch for pilots. They issued a very specific set of guidelines for the Type 20. It required a black dial with 2 sub-registers, a flyback function, a rotating bezel, and an accuracy rating of ± 8 seconds per day. Several brands were commissioned to produce the Type 20, and Breguet was one of them, built as a reliable, precise, and dependable tool for the French Air Force. 2 years after the Type 20 was produced, Breguet adapted the design for the civilian market, which had a growing interest in the watch. This is where Breguet did something odd. While the mil-spec was described as Type 20 with the numbers 20 written in Arabic numerals, the civilian versions of the Type 20 were advertised with Roman numerals. This way, the brand could separate the mil-spec version from the civilian version, but still retain the Type 20 DNA in the civilian models that came out later. These civilian versions came equipped with the modified Lamania-based movements as opposed to the Valjoux movements found in the mil-spec versions. While Breguet was capable of producing high-grade in-house calibers even at the time, they weren't able to mass-produce the Type 20 at scale for the sudden demand by the Air Force, so they instead relied on third-party calibers. And the civilian Type 20, or XXX, was designed to be much more refined and elegant than the utilitarian mil-spec versions. Fast forward to the 90s, Breguet released a civilian reinterpretation of the original Type 20 with the launch of the Type 20 Transatlantique. With this mid-sized version from 2004 coming in a 33.5mm stainless steel case with a thickness of 12mm and a lug-to-lug of 38mm. However, it wears larger on the wrist with a wrist presence similar to that of a 36mm Explorer 1 because of the male end links that extend the actual lug-to-lug to 44mm. Despite its military roots, it is undeniably still a Breguet, with a signature coin-edge case band with a mixture of brilliant satin and high-polished surfaces. You get 100 meters of water resistance with a screw-down crown, but you still get the classic bump pushers. Not a dive watch, but more than capable as a daily driver. Underneath the highly domed sapphire crystal sits a glossy black dial featuring large loomed Arabic numerals, bold syringe-style hands, and the Breguet logo proudly displayed at 12. You have a tri-register layout with the 12-hour sub-dial at 9, the 30-minute chronograph counter at 3, and the running seconds at 6, along with a cutout for the date window. We also have a unidirectional steel bezel with 5-minute interval markings alternating between dots and numerals. Completing the look of this Type 20 Transatlantique is a stainless steel bracelet with a hidden folding clasp that blends in seamlessly with the bracelet. Powering the watch is the automatic Breguet caliber 550 derived from Lamania base, 45 hours of power reserve, and a beat rate of 3 Hz. The movement itself is decorated to a high degree, but is hidden behind a closed case back in line with the Type 20's heritage. Even in this compact size, Breguet didn't cut any corners when it comes to downsizing. Breguet kept the unique aesthetic of the Type 20 and just downsized it, which is rare in watches, as we often see some tampering and fiddling with the aesthetics just to fit the layout in a smaller case size. Unfortunately, Breguet, even with its incredible heritage, isn't immune to the effects of the watch market. When released, this version retailed for around $16,900, but now you can find these for significantly cheaper at the pre-owned market, placing it side by side with modern chronograph offerings from brands like Tudor. Where watches such as the Tudor Black Bay Chrono leans heavily into rugged motorsports aesthetics, the Breguet Type 20 offers a refined, polished, and distinct military aesthetic. The original Breguet Type 20 was part of aviation history, serving the French military post-World War II. And while the Transatlantique is a neo-vintage reinterpretation, it now sits in between the vintage Type 20s from the 50s and the highly luxurized modern Breguet Type 20s that cost upwards of $20,000. This carries the Breguet name, its functional heritage, but without the haute horology glitz and glam that only the very few can afford, making it one of the best value automatic chronographs you can get today. What do you think about this Breguet? Let us know in the comments. Visit Swiss Connection Watches for more exceptional watches. Also, do subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. Thanks.